guys, welcome back to my channel, Life with Cass. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining us, and if you've been here, thank you so much for returning. So today I'm talking about something that's very personal to me. I didn't know whether or not I should share this, so I'm gonna get right into this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So today I'm talking about my birth story, actually my whole pregnancy story. Okay, like I said before, I wasn't sure whether or not I should share this, but I just thought to myself that this could help somebody else that's going through the exact situation that I went through. And I didn't even script this video because I really want to speak from the heart and speak. Yeah, this is a very emotional story for me, so I thought I should share this video because hopefully it will help somebody that's going through the same situation that I went through, and hopefully this will encourage you that there is light at the end of the tunnel. No matter how dark the road may seem, you'll always win, and hopefully I can inspire you guys to continue on and with your journey and pregnancy and motherhood and everything else in between. So this is where my journey with pregnancy began. In 2018 September, I found out I was pregnant. But this pregnancy was my second pregnancy because previously in January I found out I was pregnant, but unfortunately I had a miscarriage in March of that year. So then I found out I was pregnant again in September 2018, and because of previously having a miscarriage, it was something that I was excited, but I wasn't excited, you know, when you don't want to get your hopes up and you don't want to get disappointed again. So I didn't want to get too excited because I didn't know what to expect. So anyway, I started going. I'm not gonna go into all the nitty-gritties of the story, or else we'll sit here the whole day. So I started going to my gynae at 6 weeks, and so immediately when I went to my gynae at 6 weeks, she started putting me on how do I pronounce this name? She started putting me on hormonal tablets, pro-estrogen, and other I can't remember what the other tablet was, just because I previously had a miscarriage, and she had to literally monitor me closely until the 12-week mark. So I think I went there like every week until I reached 12 weeks, which is the 3-month stage. Normally they say once you reach your 12-week period, that's when your pregnancy is more viable. The chances of you having a miscarriage are a bit slimmer at that point. So I didn't even tell anyone besides my boyfriend that I was pregnant at the time until I reached my 12-week month. My 12-week period. And when I reached that period, that's when I told my mom, and I told only people that were really close to me. I did not really discuss my pregnancy with anybody else that was not close to me at the time. So my pregnancy was perfectly fine. I think my issues started around the 5-month mark, and that's when I started realizing that my feet were extremely swollen. I couldn't wear normal shoes because I went from a size 3 to a size 8, but they were so bulky that I couldn't even wear closed shoes. So I literally spent the rest of my pregnancy in flip-flops. What else? My other side effects, that it wasn't a complication, but my other side effects was I had stupid acne, where I've never had acne in my life, and I had acne while I was pregnant. I had a big ass nose. Like my nose was like literally here. I'll show a picture somewhere. If I might show a picture, I'm gonna think about it. I had acne, and like I was just swollen all over my body. I did not look like this girl. It was not the same person, okay? So After that, I stopped going out because I was just not comfortable in my skin. I was not comfortable taking pictures because I literally did not look like myself. I did not know who the person in the mirror that I was staring into was at the time. I was very ugly. I don't know if ugly is the word. It might sound harsh, but that's how I feel I looked. So I was very tired, very sluggish, and the whole works. But I thought everything was fine, and my doctor also thought everything was fine. I went for a scan at 6 months. That anatomy scan, the anatomy scan at 6 months. And when I did the scan, that's when the doctor figured out that there's something wrong, and they realized that for some reason my baby was not being fed, or my baby was not getting enough food through the umbilical cord, or I don't know how they get. Guys, I don't know the medical terms, but for some reason my baby was not getting enough food. So I went back to my gynae and gave her the feedback from my anatomy scan. And when she did a scan, it's my daughter had lost a lot of weight within like a short space of time, and she wasn't growing as she should have grown by 6 months. So then my gynae decided to refer me to a specialist, and I literally had to wait. I think I waited like 3 weeks to see the specialist, 2 or 3 weeks. Like, my mind is a bit foggy. I can't really remember all the exact details, but I waited about 2 or 3 weeks for the specialist to see the specialist. And at the time I had to literally pay cash. I think it was over 5,000 rand that I had to pay cash to this person, and I didn't even know if it's worth it to even pay this person, because I couldn't understand what is this person going to see that my gynae can't see. We even did preeclampsia test. My gynae even checked whether or not I had preeclampsia, and all the tests were negative. Okay, whatever. Then 2 weeks later, I finally get a booking with this specialist, and I went to go see the specialist. And then that's the day when my whole world shattered. At the time I think I was now 7 months. Was I 6 months? Okay, at the time I was 26 weeks pregnant. Let me just use the weeks because it's easier for me to remember. I was 26 weeks pregnant when I went to go see the specialist. And the specialist did a scan, and immediately I saw this guy's face just like turn, and I could see whatever he was looking at was not good. So the whole time he's doing the scan, he's quiet, he's saying nothing, and like my nerves are on 100 at this point, because I'm like, why is this guy not saying nothing? Normally when you're doing your scan, they're telling you this is the heartbeat, this is how much your baby is growing. They explaining to you while they're doing the scan, but this guy is so quiet, and I'm so nervous, and I'm like, okay, what is going on? Like, eventually I ask him, I'm like, what's going on? Why are you so quiet? He says, no, we'll speak when we're done with the scan. Okay. He gets done with the scan, and I dress up, and we go into his office, and then he tells me, you have to phone your gynae to book you into hospital today, and you have to give birth next week. And I was like, huh? I was so confused. I was like, wait, what? This is not supposed to happen. I'm like, but I'm still so far away. I'm only about to be, I think that day I was about to be 27 weeks the next day. And then he's like, no, you have to literally go give birth, or else your baby is not going to make it. You have severe preeclampsia, and your baby is not getting enough nutrients. Your placenta is about 60% abrupt, which means I am bleeding internally, and my water is halfway gone. At this point, if I could have fainted, that's what I would have done, because I was so shocked. So yeah, that's the beginning of my mini bad dream. So after that, I went home I didn't actually even go home because I went to work. I actually had to go to work because I had not applied for maternity leave. And like, I drove all the way from Sandton. I drove to Auckland Park where I work. I don't know how I got to Auckland Park, let me tell you, because I phoned my manager and I phoned my boyfriend who was working in a different province at the time. He had to leave work to come back to Joburg. It was a mess, okay? It was really a mess. Eventually I phoned my doctor and she said, okay, she'll book me in to the hospital. I need to get to the hospital at 5 p.m. and whatever. Like, that's when my nightmare started. So when I got to the hospital, I got booked in and she had to administer 2 shots of some lung injections to help my baby's lungs develop quicker, because at that point in time her lungs had not developed, so they needed to give these booster shots. I don't know what the medical term for them are, but yeah, that's what she needed to do. So she had to give me one the first night that I was there and the second day that I would be there. So I got checked into the hospital on Wednesday. So the Wednesday night I got the first shot, and then the Thursday morning she came in and then she gave me the second shot of these injections or steroids. Yeah, that's what they call it. There's some sort of steroid that helps the baby's lungs develop quicker. So then this whole time while I was at the hospital, they had that heart monitoring ring around my stomach to make sure that the baby heart was still breathing basically. And then after that, Thursday night, I was perfectly fine. Thursday morning hours, the nurses kept coming in to check the baby's heartbeat. And that's when they realized that there was something wrong with my baby's heartbeat. So the Friday morning hours, they had to phone my doctor and tell her that they're not happy with the baby's heartbeat. My doctor came in, and when she came in, she was not happy at all. And that's when she decided that I needed to have an emergency C-section that exact same day. I was 27 weeks pregnant at the time. 27 or 28, or just shy of 28 weeks pregnant at the time. So now, going from having 1 more week to be pregnant to at least help my baby grow a little bit more, to now actually having to give birth right then and there. Like, guys, if my faith was ever tested, this was the time that my faith was tested. So I had to phone my family and tell them that I'm actually giving birth today, that Friday. And I was rushed into theater at around 9 o'clock. 9:30, 10 o'clock. I can't remember, guys. My memory is really bad, but I'm trying to do this video to the best of my ability. So I went to theater and I gave birth they took my baby out at 11:10 that morning, on a Friday morning, the 29th of March 2019. And my baby came out screaming. Like, the minute they pulled her out, she was screaming. So I couldn't see her. That was the most, guys, that is like, I'm not even gonna lie, that was the most heartbreaking part. You know, you always watch movies and you see people when they give birth, they give them their babies after they give birth, and they get to bond and cry and see their babies. I did not have that chance. After I gave birth, my baby was taken away in, like, 1 minute this child is screaming, next minute like the doctors are running out of the room, and they just left me there. And I'm like to Kevin at the time, run, go with them, okay, go make sure that my baby's fine, because I can't even move at this point. I can't even feel my legs. Anyway, they took my baby out and rushed her to the NICU. I didn't even know how much she weighed. I didn't know anything. And I could see in my gynae's face that she was nervous. I could see it in her face. And I did not know what to do. Like, all I was like waiting for is for them to stitch me up. And after she stitched me up, she actually told me that my placenta was so abrupt. If I had to go another day or two, my baby or myself wouldn't have made it. So that was the most traumatizing news for me to ever hear in life, that, oh my gosh, I could have died, my baby could have died. I was like asking myself, and I was asking God, like, why does this have to happen to me a second time? Because remember, I previously had a miscarriage, and now I carried my baby, and like I'm at the verge of almost losing this baby as well. So I didn't get to see my baby until the next day, obviously, because after you have a C-section, you can't stand up until the next day. Okay, that was the case for me. I don't know about other people. So I only could see pictures that her father had brought to me. And when I saw those pictures, my heart broke. Like the tiniest person I have ever seen in life. Like it was so unbelievable how small she was, and that she was breathing, and she had all these tubes and pipes and things all over her breathing machine. It was the most horrific experience I have ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe that this was my baby, and I couldn't wait to see her. So I asked him how much she weighed, and he told me she was only 710 grams. Like, guys, 710 grams is literally nothing. She wasn't even a 1 kg of sugar. Just to give you a picture of how much she weighed. So the next morning I got up, and the nurse still told me that I have to wait for the physiotherapist to help me get out of bed. And I said, no, I need to get out of bed and I need to go see my baby right now. So I literally got up, and I didn't even feel pain. I can't tell you how it feels after having a C-section. And I can't even tell you what the pain feels like, because I was so numb. You know, I was so emotionally drained, and I was so numb that I didn't even feel the pain of the C-section, the after effects or the side effects, whatever you may call it. I went into the NICU that morning, and I saw my child, and I immediately started crying. Like, I couldn't believe that I honestly couldn't believe that my child was alive at that point, because it was so shocking, it was so scary. I saw that she was so tiny. She had like literally tubes and injection drips. She had all these crazy things around her, and just to have a breathing tube down the tiniest body. Just to explain how small she was, I could literally see her veins. I could see her skin was literally translucent. You could see through it, and her bones were so, I don't know how to call it. It didn't even feel like bones. It was really traumatizing for me. I literally had to go out of the NICU, cry, and go back to see my child. So literally my NICU experience was the most emotional, faith-testing, draining period in my life. While she was in the NICU, the first week she was in the NICU, she got jaundice. And then they had to put her under the light. I think she was under that light for maybe 3 days. And then I think 2 weeks later or a week later, then she got an infection. Then they had to do blood transfusions. And everything was going well. Like, I've never prayed as much as I prayed while my baby was in NICU. Like, it's crazy. I literally prayed every single minute and every single hour and every single second that I was with her. I was praying, because, guys, life is a miracle in itself. But for you to see your baby develop and grow outside of your womb is a different type of miracle. So she got another infection. She had 2 infections while she was in the NICU, 3 blood transfusions. What else? Yeah, I think that was like the crazy cases that we had while we were in the NICU. But literally, I can tell you that being in the NICU and having a baby in the NICU is really draining, because you as a new mom don't have that time, you don't have that period where you get home and you get pampered because you just gave birth. I literally gave birth, and the next day I got discharged out of hospital. I can't remember the day, guys. I was in hospital for 3 days, and the next day of being discharged, I had to drive myself to hospital, because in the NICU, you're not allowed. The only people that get to visit the kids are the parents, nobody else. So it did not make sense for me to spend 3 hours at the NICU and make my mom drive me while she sits and waits in the car for 3 hours or for 4 hours or however many hours I spent there. So I literally drove myself every day, twice a day, in the morning as well as in the evening, to go see my daughter. It was the craziest time of my life. I'm not even gonna lie. She ended up, and every time, you know how nervous you get every time you get a phone call. Every time you get a phone call and it looks like it's the hospital, the nerves that hit your soul, because you do not know what that person is going to tell you over the phone. I remember when they actually called us and I was at the mall and they told me, "Hi Cassandra, you can take your baby home." And I was like, "What?" And they said, "Yes, you can take your baby home today." And I was like, that was the best day of my life, guys. I'm not gonna lie. That was the best day of my life. So I took my daughter home 2 months, 60 days exactly after she was born. Lucky for us, she didn't have that much complications within the NICU. She grew and developed perfectly and nicely. And the day we took her home, she weighed 1.9 kgs. She was still a tiny little person, but it was the most exciting day of our lives to take her home, because finally I could be a normal mom, have a normal newborn, and I could experience what it's like to be a mom, where you get to do everything for your child, and where you get to love your child, sleep with your child, be with your child all day, every day. Get to touch your child whenever you want to, however you want to. Like, people take it so for granted when you give birth, and all these things that you see in the movies look so normal and look so, for me, those things were a fantasy that I never got to experience. But I'm so grateful that my daughter eventually came home healthy, and today she is 2.5 years old, and she is the light of my life, the love of my life. She is everything. I couldn't imagine my life without her. And I thank God every day that he brought her through and he carried her through. And I know that she was meant to be here, because she fought so hard. She really fought hard in the NICU. I know that she was meant to be here, and I know that God made it for her to be here. It's not a mistake. And she is literally the true definition to me of what a miracle is. Like, being pregnant and having a baby is a miracle, but for me, having to have experience to see her grow and develop outside of my womb, like, I can't take that. I don't take it for granted. It's been the most humbling experience of my life, and I really hope that the story has touched somebody and really inspires somebody. If you're going through a similar situation, that there is light at the end of the tunnel, there is hope. Just stay praying, stay trusting in God, keep the faith, and I really wish you the best if you're going through a situation like this, and know that everything happens for a reason at the end of the day. And thank you so much, guys. That was my story. I hope you truly enjoyed it and you get inspired by it. That is just a little testimony from myself and my daughter. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.